The children of Israel left Egypt on the 15th day of the first month, and they stayed at Elim until the 15th day of the second month, 30 days. And if they had taken enough food for 1 month when they left Egypt, guess what their next problem is going to be? Food. And they murmured against Moses and Aaron. Of course, they were really grumbling against God, but that wasn't safe. But God knew. Would to God we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full. For you have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. In other words, slavery was better than starvation. But the lesson that God continues to pound is that He has options, and we should not limit Him with our puny thoughts. God told Moses, "Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you." God told Moses He was going to do this to prove them, whether they would walk in God's law or not. God gave Moses instructions. For 5 days they should gather 1 day's worth of food. On the 6th day they should gather enough for that day and the next. They would gather enough on the day before the Sabbath to eat on the Sabbath, when they should not be working, and on the 7th day there was no manna. And Moses and Aaron said unto the children of Israel, This evening you shall know that the Lord hath brought you up from the land of Egypt, and in the morning you will see the glory of the Lord. You have tried to blame us, but you are really blaming God, and He knows. And while Aaron spoke to the whole congregation of the children of Israel, they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the glory of the Lord appeared in the cloud. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel. Speak unto them, saying, At even ye shall eat flesh, and in the morning ye shall be filled with bread, and you shall know that I am the Lord your God. And it came to pass that in the evening the quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay round about the host. And when the dew that lay was gone, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as the hoarfrost on the ground. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, It is manna, for they didn't know what it was. And Moses said unto them, This is the bread which the Lord hath given you to eat. This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather what you can eat in 1 day. That turned out to be an omer's worth of food. An omer is almost a gallon. So they gathered their daily supply, and the ones that gathered more than they needed had nothing left. And he that didn't gather enough had enough. Moses told them, Don't try to keep it overnight. But some people did, and do you know what they saw when they went to eat it the next morning? It had worms in it, and it smelled. But on the 6th day they gathered 2 days' worth, enough for the 6th day and enough for the Sabbath day, and this time it was good overnight. Of course, some people didn't gather enough on the 6th day, and they didn't find any when they went out on the 7th day because it wasn't there. God wasn't happy that some of the people refused to follow the rules that He had given them, and He talked with Moses about it. How long will you refuse to keep my commandments and my laws? God asked Moses. And we have to wonder what someone would use for an excuse here. Why they didn't gather enough on the 6th day so that they could keep the Sabbath. No thanks, God. I really don't like leftovers. That's ridiculous. God's message is clear to us. Keep the Sabbath. So they kept the Sabbath and showed us that life works so much better when we obey God. The manna was like coriander seed. It was white, and it tasted like honey wafers. And they ate manna for 40 years until they came to the borders of the land of Canaan, the promised land. And God told Moses, and Moses told Aaron, to keep an omer of it for all the generations of the children of Israel to see, which they did.